Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 12 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we are trying out a super fun team featuring 4 different Eeveelutions in Sylveon, Jolteon, Umbreon, and Leafeon, and it's paired with the Yveltal Groudon restricted combination. This was sent in to me by a player called Viking VGC, so huge thank you to them for the team. Rental and paste are down there if you want to try it out yourselves. And question of the day, of course inspired by us using the Eeveelutions. I want to know what your favorite Eeveelution is and why, down in the comment section below. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And let's talk about the team. So when talking about this team, we first of all have to talk about all the different combinations that exist on it, right? So the idea is that these Eeveelutions actually synergize really nicely with their restricted partners, right? And so Sylveon, for example, here has Quick Attack. And the idea is that with Quick Attack, you can activate Weakness Policy on the Yveltal. And this is a really, really bulky Yveltal, but does have enough speed investment to outspeed opposing Kyogres and opposing Groudons, even if they're max speed, right? So anything that's max speed base 90 or lower, you will outspeed. Do be a little bit careful from the 90 to 99 range, right? Like max speed Urshifu and opposing Yveltals may, of course, outpace you. So Leo as well, so just keep that in mind. But you have so much bulk here with Yveltal that you will survive a lot of super effective hits, and so often your opponents will actually activate your policy for you, which is really nice. I think this bulk is really essential because it allows you to play a lot more easily against Pokemon like Zacian, which otherwise, if you had no bulk, you might feel a little bit more fearful of, right? And so it's a special Yveltal set. There's Heat Wave here because otherwise, like, there really aren't that many ways to hit Zacian for really good damage, and so this just turns into Max Flare, and that synergizes obviously really nicely if Groudon sets up the Sun for the Yveltal here. So the Sylveon is really meant to be supportive, but it still has Focus Sash. You might be wondering, well, you have so much HP investment, why in the world would you even run Focus Sash on it, right? But the idea is with Focus Sash, you can survive like a Behemoth Blade from Zacian. Zacian's obviously the most common restricted still, and so having a way to just make sure you can survive against the most common restricted and then retaliate back with something like a Yawn is honestly really nice, and I think a lot of people just don't expect Focus Sash on Sylveon because it's normally a pretty bulky Pokemon, right? So this helps out a lot more against Zacian, and you have really good support attacks. Helping Hand's also really nice because the Yveltal here doesn't have a lot of special attack investment, so even at +2, you're not necessarily going to be picking up knockouts on a Dynamax Pokemon, but something like Airstream and then into a Helping Hand, Airstream or Darkness will, you know, very easily finish off even like bulky Max Mons, and so this is a really strong duo by itself. Groudon also synergizes really nicely with the rest of the team here. It's a pretty standard Swords Dance Citrus moveset here, but you've got Leafeon, which is Chlorophyll and Life Orb. Now, Leafeon is actually one of the Dynamax options with this team. This is not a very strong Dynamax option, unfortunately. It has to be brought out in very, very specific matchups, but it can work, especially against opposing Groudons and Kyogres, right? Leafeon has a couple problems in this form. I mean, first of all, it doesn't really have a great way to hit flying types, so you're really straight out of luck against Pokemon like Charizard or Thundurus, for example. You're going to struggle a lot against those. But in the right matchup, this Pokemon can come out and actually put in a lot of work, especially because you have like some pretty powerful max options, right? And the nice thing is you have max Quake and max Steel Spike, and that synergizes nicely with the Groudon, where you can give the Groudon defensive boosts. Groudon gets a Sword Stance off, and then it can play towards the end game here. So, you know, basically my checklist for Leafeon is, it's normally like the last Pokemon I think about bringing into a matchup, but if they don't have flying types, then I actually think it's, you know, worthwhile to consider. You can still bring it into flying types, but the thing is, like, opposing Charizards and Thunduruses are already so hard to play against, and you're essentially giving up a slot if you're bringing Leafeon, because it can't do anything into those, so be careful of those. Finally, to round out the team, you've got Choice Scarf Jolteon. This is enough speed investment to actually outspeed Regieleki. There are not that many Pokemon in the format you could say that with, even with Choice Scarf, honestly. So being able to outspeed max speed Eleki, honestly, is really, really nice. And the idea is that you can discharge, right? Or self-Volt Switch, activate Policy on Yveltal, go out into something like Groudon. Yveltal can then like max Airstream and then give Groudon a speed boost. That's a really fun combination that, you know, gets you a lot of different stat boosts all in one turn and a lot of positioning as well. So Discharge, Volt Switch, Shadow Ball is mainly for Calyrex, Shadow Rider, and Lunala, and then Weather Ball is just kind of one of those random moves that you can catch your opponents off guard with, especially with Groudon. You know, Jolteon can go for like Weather Ball into Zacian, for example. Finally, you've got Safety Goggles, Umbreon. This is a lot more standard of a Pokemon relative to the rest of the team in terms of something that you actually see more commonly in Series 12, but the idea is, you know, fully supportive. Yawn, Snarl, Foul Play, and Moonlight. I will say that this Umbreon is actually really good often in the end games because this can 1v1 a lot of Pokemon thanks to the ability to heal, put your opponent to sleep, and deal decent damage between the Dark type attacks. Like, even against something that can resist it, like an Yveltal and Incineroar, Umbreon can actually have a decent end game, right? Especially if the opposing Pokemon doesn't have great recovery. So look towards playing toward like these 1v1 endgames potentially with Umbreon, and if you can get there, it actually can be pretty strong. And of course, it's just really nice for utility as well. The goggles is so helpful against Venusaur and against Amoonguss, which otherwise would definitely be pretty problematic for this team, right? So a lot of combinations you could go with, but something like Sylveon, Yveltal lead with Groudon plus one of the 3 Eeveelutions is always valuable. Leafeon, I would maybe consider like not bringing unless you're thinking of Dynamaxing, because if you don't get much value out of Dig, and then Iron Tail is pretty unreliable in terms of accuracy as well. And so like normally if I'm going with the Sylveon Yveltal mode, maybe it's Jolteon as the final one for Scarf Discharge next to Groudon. You could go Jolteon, Yveltal, Self Volt Switch, Activate Policy, and then you can go like Groudon, Leafeon, Groudon, Jolteon, Groudon, Umbreon. Those are all pretty viable leads. So kind of comes down to what your opponent's team has. I think, you know, obviously 4 Eeveelutions is quite gimmicky, but this team does such a good job basically building around kind of and maximizing the value out of these Eeveelutions, right? So it took me a long time to get used to, honestly. I like played maybe 6 or 7 practice games with it, and I like lost almost all of them because I didn't understand like the natural interactions between them. And so when you use a team like this, your room for error is just a lot slimmer, right? And so you can't make as many mistakes as you would with a normal team. But that also makes it more exciting because when you do, if you are able to, you know, get the victory, it feels really, really satisfying. So excited to try out this Eeveelution team, and let's get started. Alright, first game of the day, and we are up against Reshiram, Calyrex-I Ice Rider. This is the team that I got second at Indianapolis Regionals way back. Yveltal is actually quite solid here. The main thing to worry about is probably going to be the Regieleki lead. And I'm obviously worried about Trick Room as well. So I'm now for a Sylveon Yveltal lead. I mean, Groudon Swords Dance is actually also really powerful here if we just lead that immediately. Because my problem is, even at +2, I'm not confident on Yveltal picking up knockouts here, which is kind of wild to say. But I guess I should still, I don't know, Groudon could be a max option here. Like, I think I want Groudon plus Umbreon as the 4th, because Umbreon can foul play the Calyrex Ice Rider. Yeah, I'm down for this. I think Leafeon and Jolteon don't make very much sense in this matchup. So these are probably the, like, this is the more stable core of 4 with this team, in my opinion. Leafeon on Jolteon are fun, but they have to be very matchup specific, and unfortunately, I just don't think they honestly offer very much, especially in this matchup. They're still hard to bring in general. Like, the thing is that Leafeon is just so weak to fire types, unfortunately, especially something like Charizard and Thundurus. Like, we can't do anything against flying types with it. So it's going to be a Reshiram plus Tapu Fini lead. Okay, I am actually decently okay with this. Because turn 1, I can definitely go for a self-quick attack, activate the policy, and then just go for... Like, the main thing I'm worried about here is Heal Pulse from Tapu Fini, right? So, I'm down to just go for Airstream, I think. Well, with Misty Seed, like, they could also go for... Like, what do I want to do here? Because what I can do is actually 2-shot Reshiram, right? Like, what I can do is Quick Attack, Dynamax, and Max Darkness, and then next turn just Helping Hand Max Darkness it. So I'm kind of down for that, actually. Like, in this position, you expect Reshiram to max, right? But basically, if they're leading this, I would expect my opponent to have Porygon and Calyrex Ice Rider in the back. That's my opinion. So Porygon and Calyrex Ice Rider, I could just Helping Hand Max Darkness both of those with a lot of ease, and Tapu Fini is not that scary here as an offensive option. It's more the utility that it offers, right? But this is Assault Vest Reshiram, so I know that it can't protect, and I know that this is like a guaranteed free +2 Max Darkness into that slot. You can see, right, like Leafeon and Jolteon in this position just would contribute very little into the Reshiram specifically. Leafeon could Max Quake it, but then they could just Max Flare us in return. That's not a good trade-off for us. Okay, so Sylveon here will activate the weakness policy on Yveltal very nicely. There's the policy activation, beautiful. I don't know, I expected this to do like maybe 40%. A little bit, actually a lot more. I mean, it's a +2 max Yveltal move, and that's a crit. That's exactly it. Yeah, so they were at 60. So I feel like my estimate was actually fairly accurate. Pretty lucky crit there, but the idea was to lower the special defense so I can Helping Hand Max Darkness next turn. I'm mainly curious here if they opted for the Heal Pulse onto the Reshiram slot. Okay. So they'll negate the special defense drop I had. Very nicely done. They will heal pulse themselves. Okay. Well played. Still okay with me, though. It is such a significant amount of recovery, though, but... I mean, if they just keep max quaking, that's a fine trade-off for us, in my opinion. So, because I have Helping Hand here, so I'm down to just Helping Hand max Darkness. Great play by them on turn 1, though, like, to get the special defense boost and to heal themselves up. So, that's why I was thinking about knocking out the Tapu Fini, but I wasn't sure I would get the KO, honestly, thanks to the Misty Seed. So, we get Helping Hand Darkness off here. Cool. Now, even if they Quake and Heal Pulse again, we should KO them next turn, right? And that's a great trade-off for me, in my opinion. Yep, they're just going to Quake again. I think where the problem now lies is that they'll get Porygon out next to Tapu Fini, and then they can just look towards Trick Rooming the next turn. And then Calyrex Ice Rider looks to be pretty strong against me, right? Yep, so there's another Heal Pulse. But this is where Max Darkness lowering special defense is really valuable. So I can go for a third Helping Hand and then a Max Darkness. I think where the game gets interesting is after this turn, because like they have the pressure of Trick Room, and so I'm gonna want to ideally bring in Umbreon. We're also looking to ideally stall out the Misty terrain if we can, because then I can click Yawn. But we will finally get the KO into Reshiram here. Beautiful. See what Fini opts for. My problem is I don't think a Helping Hand... If Helping Hand plus 2 Dark Pulse were to actually KO Porygon, this should just be game over. But I don't expect it to KO, unfortunately. Okay, they just Moonblast us. That's fine. Special attack drop would be really bad. But no drop, okay. So I expect Porygon plus Calyrex in the back. I think that's their strongest mode. But it's Incineroar coming out. That's really good for me, in my opinion. Because with Incineroar, this next turn I can just double protect and then Helping Hand Oblivion Wing into Incineroar, and then assuming Calyrex is their last one, Helping Hand Dark Pulse into that. So this is where the Sylveon combination is really quite nice for us. So yeah, I'm just going to double protect here. I'm really surprised not to see Porygon, but that's a very pleasant surprise because I think late game Porygon plus Trick Room would have been really tough to beat here. But Incineroar just doesn't offer very much for my opponent at the moment. And Fini, yes, it has Moonblast, but that's not like that much damage, and I'm faster than both Pokemon here. I think my main struggle when practicing with this team is just constantly getting outsped by so many things in the format, whether it be Charizard or Thundurus or Tailwind. So going up against slower paced teams is more beneficial for us in this current game state. Yeah, they go for Moonblast and Parting Shot. Interesting, a Parting Shot Sylveon. Okay. I don't care about Tapu Fini because that's never going to just win the game for my opponent, and the bulk of the damage should come from Calyrex Ice Rider in this late game, so I just want to make it as difficult as possible for Calyrex to even come out, right? So like I said, Helping Hand, Oblivion Wing here, they brought Calyrex, Helping Hand, Dark Pulse, should put us in a very nice spot. One of the nice things about using Yveltal, don't have to worry about its main attacks missing here. Man, that's a testament to how bulky Incineroar is, or maybe a testament to how non-strong Yveltal is. With even at +2, like Helping Hand Oblivion Wind does not KO Incineroar, but that might be Assault Vest. Oh no, Assault Vest was on Reshiram. Never mind. Yeah, this time around they do Parting Shot into Yveltal. Okay, that's fine. I do expect Helping Hand Dark Pulse to get the KO onto Calyrex if that is their last one, and we'll survive a Moonblast as well. Yep. So, you know, their best play maybe is to protect right now. You know, actually, I think a really good play would be to switch the Calyrex back out. Terrain disappears, though, so I can actually click Yawn as well. I am not going to try to get fancy here. I think I will just Helping Hand Dark Pulse, even though I expect them to protect. Because we have a pretty significant advantage right now, and if they make one misstep, they just lose. And it's actually Fini switching out into... Oh, I actually like this play a lot from their end, because now, this next turn, you can click... they're going to protect Calyrex here, right? You have to protect here, I think. If they don't protect, the game's just over. But now you can click Fake Out into Yveltal the next turn, which is really nicely done. Yeah, that's an awesome play by them. Nicely done. Okay. Yeah. Now you can go for Fake Out onto Yveltal and then Trick Room. And Yawn doesn't really work because they'll just bring out the, yeah, they'll just bring it back out. So I'm just gonna... Double Protect here is actually kind of interesting because Glacial Lance won't KO, and then I can just press with Blade's Foul Play. Whereas if I stay in with Yveltal, it's just Glacial Lance bait. So I'm actually down to make the double switch right now. Okay. If I had clicked Oblivion Wing onto the Fini slot last turn, I'd be good, but... Basically there, if I target Fini and like Fini protects and Calyrex just Trick Rooms, I'm in a bad position, but I guess that's a pretty tough prediction to make. Fake out. Yep. And Trick Room goes up now. Yep. Okay, well we have Foul Play. Glacial Lance should move first here. If I Foul Play, I activate Policy, though, so I have to be pretty careful about that. I think here I'm down to click... I mean, I can Protect with Groudon really easily this turn, right? I think Moonlight into Protect this turn is fine. Because we're looking to stall out Trick Room at this point for an Yveltal endgame, so every turn we can burn is pretty valuable. And they actually protect Calyrex. Okay, that works for me. Maybe, I don't know, like Party Shot and a Groudon would be the play that I would expect my opponent to make here. Okay, they target Umbreon, that's fine. Like, the stat drops on us here don't really matter. But that was a free potential Swords Dance I could have had on Groudon, but I didn't expect them to ever protect with Calyrex there, truthfully. Okay, Tapu Fini comes back in. What do I expect now? Just Glacial Lance into Heal Pulse probably, right? I think what I want to accomplish in this game is to activate Policy on the last turn that it's active. Yeah. Glacial Lance will snowball. Oh, but I can take advantage of them having an attack boost, right? That's also interesting. Yeah, I want to be very careful about activating Weakness Policy, though. Yeah, in this position, I'm actually down to just click Yawn and press with Blades, because I expect to survive Glacial Lance with the Groudon. And then next turn, we switch Groudon out. Oh, sorry, next turn I Protect. And then we switch it. Yep, we survive, good. Get Moonlight off, good. Basically, Umbreon is going to be really clutch for us in this one, I think. They did just opt for Moonblast, that's also fine. Onto Groudon, actually. Okay, that works for me. It's a free switch in for me now. Okay. If I bring in Sylveon, I can actually Helping Hand Foul Play. And they'd be at +1 attack with Calyrex as well. Does that KO Calyrex Ice Rider is the thing. If you're at +1 and I have Helping Hand, I kind of expect it to KO. So I think I do want to just go for Helping Hand and Foul Play here. Okay. There's Helping Hand. There's Lance. I mean, I guess I'm eating up Lance plus Moonblast, though, right? So the question is, can Umbreon survive that? If so, then I can just Moonlight to recover it off next turn. All the way back to full. There's Chilling Neigh. Get Foul Play off. Nice, that's a KO. Okay, cool. So we use their attack boost against them. Oh, it's Taunt. Okay, that's not good news for me. This is going to be a close finish then. Taunt, Heal Pulse, Moonblast. Was that on the original team? I actually don't remember. The thing is, the Foul Play will just KO Incineroar right now, and I have Inner Focus, so I have the KO onto the Incineroar, especially with Dark Aura. The interesting debate is whether or not I protect Yveltal this turn, but I think I will still go for it since we're looking to stall out Trick Room right now. But I'm glad I got the one-hit KO onto Calyrex. That's what we were looking for this game. And that was a pretty cool play to get that one-hit KO. Yeah, so it's the last turn of Trick Room right now, so I think here we just click Foul Play into the Incineroar slot and then just protect with Yveltal. Incin could underspeed my Umbreon though and just KO me with Flare Blitz, but then you faint from recoil. Let's see. Oh, okay, they fake out Umbreon, but I have Inner Focus, so I don't flinch, which is huge. Get the KO onto the Incineroar. Nice. Let's see if they Moonblasted Umbreon as well. Okay. Yeah, nicely done. They might have just gone for that to guarantee damage onto Umbreon then. But we very, very critically survive here. Okay, cool. And now I have Snarl as well, right? So, Tapu Fini can only target one Pokemon at a time. Nicely played, though. I think if they had targeted into Yveltal there and Umbreon stuck around, this would have been a guaranteed win, but now it's actually a little bit tougher, but I do have a lot of recovery through Oblivion Wing right now. So the thing is, like, their Moonblast does significant damage, but I heal back a significant amount with Oblivion Wing as well, right? It's pretty good. It's going to be, looks like a 4-8 KO, but that's okay because of how much I'm healing back, especially if they Moonblast Yveltal here and I actually get a Snarl off. But they target Umbreon. Okay, nicely done. Umbreon will faint. No more terrain. If only I'd saved my policy all the way until now. So I'm just gonna go for another Oblivion Wing. Yeah, that last turn, it was them having Taunt and then them also doubling up onto the Umbreon slot, which was really nicely done. Like, maybe it was actually worthwhile for me to just attack with Yveltal because the protect on my end there was so obvious. Okay, so we're at 197 HP. The Nature's Madness instead of Moonblasting, I think they... Well, I guess that makes sense, but, like, I don't think another Moonblast KOs me right now after I heal back from Oblivion Wing. But I guess they expected Nature's Madness to do more, which I would too, because the Tapu Fini shouldn't actually have that much special attack investment. But I think now another Oblivion Wing just KOs for sure. But we'll see if they could have gotten the knockout with 2 Moonblasts. Probably not, right? 133 onto Yveltal. Oh, that... Okay, yeah, I think they would have had it if they... do I KO with Oblivion Wing after the special attack drop? I'm fairly sure I do. They also risked the miss from Nature's Madness earlier, right? Okay, we do get the KO. That was a wild game. But a really fun one at that. You know, we did get the policy boost early with Sylveon onto the Yveltal. Umbreon put in a lot of work against the Calyrex Ice Rider, but they made some very nice predictions in this endgame, right? Where doubling up onto the Umbreon slots and taunting it as well. And also, like, I could have just won the game the turn that they protected Calyrex and switched in the Incineroar. If I Helping Hand, like Oblivion Wing, that slot. I don't even have to Helping Hand there, actually. But if I just target down that slot. But the obvious fear is that if I overextend there and Calyrex does just make a read and Trick Rooms or Glacial Lances, I could actually lose the game immediately from there. Whereas from that position, because I had a big enough lead, I was willing to say, okay, even if my opponent makes a good play here, like, we can still come back into the game. But that was really close. And yeah, like, it would have been super close as to whether or not 2 Moonblasts would have KO'd. So, yeah, but that was a really intense battle, so fun way to get things started here. Alright, our next game here, and it is Kyogre Calyrex with Landorus, Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Whimsicott. I really don't like going up against Tailwind with this team, because you just, like, give up. You just, like, basically let your opponent outspeed you. So I think Umbreon's actually going to be really critical here for Yawn pressure. What we ideally want to do is Yawn into their Restricteds in Landorus and Kyogre. I think Whimsicott Kyogre as a lead here is a possibility. Could I ever actually max Leafeon? So I'm having Landorus that scares me. Leafeon's not, like, good into it, really. But Umbreon is. I want to try out Leafeon in this one, I think. Jolteon is interesting, though, because we have Scarf Shadow Ball, which could just actually really surprise the Calyrex. So I'm kind of thinking of Umbreon, Jolteon, Yveltal, Groudon. Sylveon here did also have Yawn. So, like, another approach would have been just Sylveon plus Yveltal lead, and, like, if they go Whimsicott Kyogre, protect Yveltal, yawn into Kyogre turn 1, turn 2, self-quick attack Yveltal, Dynamax, and then Airstream or Darkness. That also could work. It is Whimsicott Kyogre, okay. So what do we expect here? Use Tailwind? Water Spout? I'm kind of down to bring in Groudon and go for Discharge here. Like, we don't have super good answers in a Tailwind here. Man, Sylveon Yveltal actually could have worked, because, yeah, I could have gone for the turn 1 Protect into Yawn onto Kyogre. But I wanted to lead in a way that would counter Calyrex Shadow Rider as well. But I guess if you look at it from my opponent's perspective, why would you bring Calyrex here into an Yveltal Umbreon lead, right? Whereas Kyogre's a lot more consistent here. But basically, if I get Discharge Pair onto the Kyogre, then even if they Tailwind, we outpace it next turn. Yep, so there's Tailwind, no Dynamax, that makes sense. Yep, it's just Water Spout. Okay, I do survive, but it's a lot of damage onto both. So let's see, Jolteon, can you be clutch for us right now and give us a Paralysis onto Kyogre? Single Para here would be absolutely game-changing. It's a 30% chance. So it's not terrible. See? Get it onto Whimsicott. Not onto Kyogre, though. Okay. Well, maybe it's not the end of the world. I think here I'm intrigued by the idea of just protecting. I'm not even sure we need to protect, honestly, because, like, they've taken so much more damage now. And I'm not sure Origin Pulse KO, so I'm actually kind of down to just Precipice Blades and Discharge. Ah, they go for Helping Hand, though. Okay. They miss Origin Pulse, though, onto the Groudon. Okay. I assume this will KO the Jolteon with Helping Hand. We survive! So that's actually a double knockout right now. Very lucky miss onto the Groudon. Oh, actually, it won't KO Whimsicott, but that's okay. I think, like, not KO Whimsicott's actually more beneficial for me at the moment, because it denies them 2 free switch-ins. So I'll take it. Jolteon accomplished a decent amount for us here, ultimately. And there's Landorus, finally. So this was the Pokemon I was worried about the most. Okay. Our best method in dealing with that, I think Jolteon's done what I've needed to do in this game. So I'm okay protecting here, and we'll sacrifice Jolteon. Thank you for your service. The idea is to bring in Umbreon, and then with Umbreon I can pressure with Yawn onto the Landorus slot. Landorus didn't max, though. I guess you don't really need to. That's bad. That is going to be bad. Although, interestingly enough, I guess I do get a free knockout onto the Whimsicott as a result. It's a great Swords Dance, right? Because you're just in the perfect position to do so. I can't punish you at the slightest right now with this duel out on the field. Calyrex is the last one. Oh, it's Incineroar. Maybe this is doable then. The problem is like just getting swept by Landorus right now, right? But I do have a 4-2 lead. Is there any world in which I ever come back from this? Right now, they can just click Fake Out onto Jolteon, Dynamax, Airstream onto Groudon. I think my best bet is hoping Foul Play and Dark Aura. I mean, I also have Policy on Yveltal, right? So I can survive maybe a Max Rockfall. So in this position, I'm actually willing to just give up both of my Pokemon, I think. We'll go for Precipice Blades, and we'll go for Discharge. And we'll play towards the Dynamax, Yveltal plus Umbreon endgame. Yeah, I should have led better, I think. Whimsicott Kyogre was the lead I was even, like, talking about, and I didn't counter it super hard. I don't know what the best counter to it is, though, right? Like, Leafeon feels just so poor in this matchup, given Whimsicott, or sorry, Incineroar and Landorus. Fake out. Yep, onto Jolteon. It's fine. I was thinking about switching Groudon out into Yveltal, but they should always Airstream here. Yeah. Mainly curious if you're Life Orb, because if you're Life Orb, then the +2 Rockfall may indeed just KO my Yveltal, and that is really bad news for me. But I think I had to sack Groudon here. No Life Orb. Okay. I kind of expect Umbreon to take the max move here. So the big debate this turn is, do I just attack with the Yveltal outright? Because I have Foul Play with Umbreon right now, right? So I can protect with the, or Max Guard with the Yveltal and then Foul Play into Landorus. And the other thing is, does a Dark Aura boosted Foul Play KO Dynamax Landorus Therian? I'm not sure, honestly. Like, I honestly kind of want to go for Foul Play Dynamax and Max Airstream in this position. Because I think there's also a chance that we can survive a +2 Rockfall into Yveltal right now. And if you activate my policy, we actually would win. Umbreon should win the 1v1 against Incineroar at the moment. So, yeah. We got quite lucky dodging the Origin Pulse earlier. But if we got a Paralysis or an Origin Pulse miss, like, we would have been in a pretty good spot. And so when you combine the odds of both of those, it's not super bad for us. More in my opponent's favor still, but yeah. And they do just go for Rockfall. Okay. Let's see if you one-shot Yveltal here. We're really bulky. Nice. That actually should be game over then, I think, because we should just knock out the Landorus here. If they had Life Orb and we had seen that last turn, I probably would have been a little bit more concerned. But fortunately for us, there wasn't any Life Orb. So Airstream plus Foul Play, even if you're very bulky, Landorus now should KO. And they took that pretty well given that we were at +2, but Foul Play will finish it off. I don't expect to faint from a Flare Blitz from Incineroar here. Even if we were to, though, I think Umbreon should win the 1v1 against Incineroar because I have Yawn and Moonlight, right? And Goggles here, so I don't take chip damage from the sand. Yep, it's just Flare Blitz. 22. Do I faint from Burn and Sand here? 22 down to... Oh... Okay, well that just might extend the battle here. I'm still quite confident on winning with the Umbreon right now. Because I don't... Yeah, I mean, I just have Foul Play damage, and I'm Goggles, and I have Yawn. But it just extends the battle for a lot more time than it really needed to. But we're faster here. Like, the goal is just Yawn, Foul Play. I have Moonlight, so as soon as... Like, I'm waiting for Sand to expire as well, right? We don't want to Moonlight while Sand is up. Well, it depends on how much Blitz does to us here. Let's see. Yeah, it's not much. I might want to do it here just so I don't lose to a critical hit immediately, actually. Because, yes, the recovery isn't great, but losing to a crit here would feel really bad. And if there's one thing I learned from playing with this team, you do actually get into a fair amount of Umbreon endgames, and just making sure you don't lose to any crazy shenanigans is really, really critical in these endgame positions. Yeah. And now they fall asleep, right? So, even if they crit us there, we would have survived. They fall asleep. I click Moonlight twice. We'd be okay. The sand damage is chipping up very quickly as well. And they have Buried. That's fine. That only means a recovery. Incineroar falls asleep now. Beautiful. And the thing is, their best means of offense damages them, right? Which is really critical. So I am just going to click Foul Play right now. I should Moonlight next turn just to make sure I don't faint from a one-turn wake up into a crit. But this next turn is the last turn of Sand, so afterwards, I will be able to Moonlight with more ease. But if I don't Moonlight here and they wake up and they crit me, I actually do just lose. It may have actually been more optimal to go for a double Moonlight, just like last turn as well, but I'm pretty sure I'm not fainting to a crit here. And if they crit, they're going to do so much recoil to themselves, and okay, they don't wake up. They needed a one-turn wake into a crit there to have a chance, so as long as they don't get that, we should be good. Might be 3 Foul Plays instead of 2 here, we'll see. Either way, though, I'm glad to bring out Scarf Jolteon. My goal with this team was to feature all of the Eeveelutions just once. We already got Sylveon, we got Umbreon, we got Jolteon, so I'm gonna try to get Leafeon in the next game, win or lose. Leafeon's just tough. It really is just tough to bring. Okay. They do manage to wake up. They're going for Darkest Lariat. Smart. Yeah, if you Flare Blitz at this point, you're gonna be in really bad shape. I'm just gonna go for Yawn. Yawn into Moonlight into Foul Play into Foul Play. Right? Because, like, I guess then I would lose to maybe double... No, if you Flare Blitz crit at this point, though, Foul Play just KOs you. Yeah, because you're taking so much recoil. Yeah, I'm fairly sure we just survived the crit there. They get the burn. Incineroar is not making my life easy. I just want to play the next one. We're just going to Moonlight here. Like, we have this locked up, right? We just got to be patient and make sure we don't throw the game. And, for example, if I were to click Foul Play there, then a Flare Blitz into burn actually maybe KOs me. But, yeah. With them clicking Flare Blitz again here, you just take so much recoil. Yep. Cool, cool. Now Incineroar falls asleep, and 2 Foul Play should get it done. So in these endgame scenarios, it might be kind of boring. You just want to stay aware, you want to stay patient, and just make sure you don't throw the game away. Because we're burnt out, I'm not even sure. Yeah, like 2 should get the KO, right? Yeah, that actually got the knockout in itself. Okay, cool. Yeah, that ended up extending the battle for like 6 more minutes, because if we didn't get burnt on the Evoltal, then I would have been able to just max airstream the Incineroar plus Foul Play for a KO. But because we had to get crit, we had to play this endgame. But Umbreon on this team specifically is really strong into a lot of endgames, because as recovery has a way to decrease your opponent's special attack, and it can take advantage of your opponent's attack, and it can put it to sleep, right? So it's actually kind of an endgame beast if you end up in that scenario. But ideally, you don't get to that position. The main thing, though, is that Jolteon was really clutch with the discharges in this mid-game. And yeah, the lead looked really scary, but Jolteon was able to put in a lot of work, and we were pretty lucky once again dodging the Origin Pulse on the Groudon there, because I think I would have fainted just helping hand Origin Pulse. Then what would have saved me there was like a Para onto like kyogre, because then the Jolteon would just outspeed both of my opponent's Pokemon the next turn, and then very critically, Evoltal was just bulky enough to take that +2 rocks or max Rockfall with a decent amount of HP as well. So yeah, let's look for another. Alright, our third match here. I said I was going to bring Leafeon, and honestly, this is not a bad Leafeon matchup. It's a really cool team. Groudon, Xerneas, Incineroar, Amoonguss, Blastoise, and Blacephalon. The reason why Leafeon's interesting here is because it actually is a way to hit like my opponent's restricteds for super effective damage, right? Like, we've got Solar Blade and Iron Tail, and I'm immune to Rage Powders from Amoonguss. So this is as good of a matchup as we're going to get with Leafeon. So if I'm not bringing it here, when in the world am I bringing it? So we'll go Leafeon, Groudon. Xerneas is really scary, though. Like, if I miss position against it at any single point, it just wins the game, I think. Which is really scary. So I think because of Xerneas, I'm going to go Sylveon and Evoltal. The logic is, there's a world in which I can stop Xerneas if they somehow, you know, survive, like, the damage from Leafeon on Groudon. And the route is basically, Leafeon, like, sorry, being able to yawn into Xerneas, right? So I'm trying to cover for that. Because the idea is that I have Focus Sash on Sylveon, so even if you Geomancy and get knockouts, then I can put you to sleep, and then maybe you've already taken enough damage where I just need a little bit more chip to finish you off. But that's going to be Amoonguss plus Xerneas, which puts Leafeon in a very nice spot to start this game. Okay. So turn 1, what do we want to do here, right? The first question is my opponent really scared of Leafeon? If so, your play here is to switch the Xerneas out into Incineroar right now. So my question is, do I actually Dynamax here? I almost don't want to max. I mean, Life Orb Iron Tail in itself is really powerful into Xerneas, so I'm actually down to just Iron Tail and Precipice Blades turn 1. Because I think the odds of... Like, the only problem here is if they just Geomancy and I miss Iron Tail. But there's the switch, exactly. And if I had Dynamaxed here, then Leafeon's in a much worse position going into turn 2 and turn 3, right? I just essentially lose my Dynamax for nothing. So here, Groudon is probably going to fall asleep, but that's okay. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think that's that bad for us. I did end up missing Iron Tail. And Princess Blades? No, it's just Shuka Berry, okay. Swords Dance also was an interesting consideration there. That's a crit onto Amoonguss, okay. And some more Groudon, yeah. This next turn is really interesting because now you know I have Iron Tail. You should, like... I'm not even confident in Quake KOing either Mon here. Does Life Orb Max Quake at -1 really not KO Incineroar, though? That's my question. Because this game is all about my opponent trying to enable their Xerneas. My fear here is if -1 Max Quick doesn't KO, Xerneas just comes back out. So the question here was, what do you do with Incineroar? Do you click Parting Shot? I think Parting Shot's a really valuable. Parting Shot and Spore into Leafeon right now is pretty strong, or you can make the hard switch. Okay, time to test out Leafeon. How strong are you? We got rid of the Shuka Berry earlier. I'm just gonna Dynamax and Quake. They stayed in. So if we get the KO here, I also get a special defense boost, right? If I don't get the KO, though, and they Parting Shot into Leafeon, I am probably doomed. The other play I wanted to go for here was to protect Leafeon and just Precipice Blades. I mean, stall it or turn to sleep on Groudon. But if they hard switch Incineroar out there, it's kind of bad for me, I think. This is the best outcome, though. They just go for Fake Out. Okay, that's huge. Even if we don't KO now, this is a lot better. Oh, Leafeon, you let me down. That's okay, though. That's okay. Okay. Take a turn to sleep. Okay, it's Self-Pollen Puff. That's not good. That just puts Incineroar essentially at where it started the turn. I should have expected Pollen Puff. That's a great play by them. This is where, I think, like, getting special defense boosts right now, though, is honestly really valuable onto the Groudon slot. So, like, the thing is, I could gamble for a Wake Up here, because we Wake Up. The other consideration is Swords Dancing, but I think a Wake Up to just, like, nuke the Incineroar here would be a huge deal. The odds aren't amazing, but I'm down to go for it. Amoonguss switches out, yeah, into Xerneas. Okay. They're probably going to try to Parting Shot here. This is why I think Leafeon's just not very strong in this format, right? This was as good of a matchup as we could have gotten for it here, and it's just with the Intimidate, like, I just can't pick up anything close to KOs. Was that a crit? Oh! Okay, Leafeon, I see you. It's just based off how much that last Max Quick did. I didn't think I'd get the knockout there. Does Groudon wake up? It stays asleep, okay. Well, I am at +2 special defense now. And, like, I'm still immune to the Amoongus's Rage Powder and Spores, right? So I have a pretty free Steel Spike on his Xerneas here. The thing is, the Steel Spike is incredibly obvious. But I think I still go for it here. We're going to Steel Spike, and we are going to... Oh! Wait, but their play is to just Geomancy and Self-Pollen Puff, isn't it? Basically, the debate I have here is, do I actually want to click Swords Dance or Precipice Blades? I'm at +2 special defense, so we actually, like, might be okay. Swords Dance would just punish a Protect so hard here. I'm down to Swords Dance. Huh. They're going to Dynamax. This is where they reveal its weakness policy, Xerneas, and I just cry. Okay. That's honestly not bad at all, given that Groudon's at +2 special defense. Alright, Leafeon. I don't know. I mean, I'm not expecting much damage there. Well, I'm getting the defensive boosts on both Pokemon. Max Starfall. It's still pretty good damage, but the interesting thing is now you set up Misty Terrain, so you can't Spore anymore. I stay asleep for another turn. Okay, that's bad. Yep, Self-Pollen Puff. Xerneas just has such a good matchup into my team here, like, even with all of that, my opponent's honestly still in a pretty good position because Groudon just hasn't been able to wake up quickly enough. Last turn of Sunlight. I'm at -1 attack. Sylveon and Yveltal aren't really doing much for me right now. I'm down to Iron Tail Xerneas. They're probably going to Pollen Puff it, but Iron Tail does not do much into Amoonguss anyway. And I can get defense drops through it. And I like the idea of protecting here. Try to stall it, turn their Dynamax. Because we have Citrus Berry, which is huge. We finally do wake up. Yep. Just a shame, because if I got Swords Dance off or Blades off earlier, that both would have been really good damage. And I miss Iron Tail again, but it's okay. Starfall into Groudon again. Okay, 119 down to 98. So, thanks to Citrus now, I should definitely survive another. Yep, Self-Pollen Puff. I think the Max Xerneas was actually really smart. I like that option a lot for my opponent. Sunlight fades. Okay, so the thing is, I expect another Starfall and Pollen Puff, right? That's their play right now. I think I want to Swords Dance and switch out here. Yeah, going on an Yveltal and Swords Dance. The idea of Swords Dancing is so that next turn, like, they have to think twice about clicking Geomancy. I feel like I had a big enough lead after this early game that I should have just won this, but Groudon not waking up quickly enough has been a huge pain for me. Yep, so there's a third Starfall onto the Groudon, 149 down to 70. Cool. Finally get Swords Dance, and now this next turn I pressure with Oblivion Wing into Precipice Blades, which is really good. Okay, there's Pollen Puff again. Yep, cool. We've finally stalled out Dynamax. I think it is just Oblivion Wing into Blades here. But they probably just Geomancy now. Okay, Rage Powder is fine. If you're not Koba and Oblivion Wing KOs, then it's a single target Precipice Blades and a Xerneas. Oh, we actually are faster than Xerneas as well. Okay. Not surprising to see them be like super slow and bulky though. Oh, that doesn't KO. That's so disappointing. Oh, but they didn't Geomancy. They just Moonblast into Groudon. We should survive this. Please hit Precipice Blades. Please, one time. Okay, nice. I'm really surprised they didn't Geomancy there. Very happy though, because I think if they Geomancy, I'm done for. But this means now I could even consider switching out. Oh, they'll have their own Groudon to boost my Leafeon. Yes! Let's go! Oh, it's Leafeon time. Oh, this is so good. Yeah, this is so good. Okay. So even if you Geomancy now, Leafeon's faster than my Yveltal, right? Oh, they're actually the exact same speed. That's kind of funny. Okay. I am going to Oblivion Wing into Xerneas and Precipice Blades. Oh, this is crazy. Xerneas protects, that's fine. If they Rock Slide here, they're done for. Because they activate my policy and then Yveltal just wins with Leafeon support. Oh, and we're faster with Groudon. Nice. I think they needed to Geomancy last turn. I can't hit a single move in this matchup, but it's okay because we've hit all... Like, the ones we've missed really don't matter at all. It's just mainly staying mentally composed even after all of that. I am actually down to bring out Sylveon first. And the logic for bringing out Sylveon is because Leafeon can... Well, I had Solar Blade. But basically, the logic in Sylveon here is that I can just Helping Hand Oblivion Wing into the Xerneas. And then Quick Attack should finish it off, even if you survive with like 1 HP. And if Xerneas goes for the double, so be it. Unless we Speed Tie. There's no way, right? Okay. So let's see. This should just KO. Yeah. Perfect. And they Stone Edge to activate policy. Beautiful. Okay, perfect. at this point, we win the game, I just want to give Leafeon the chance to get a Solar Blade off, so basically I want to protect here and switch into Leafeon. The most optimal play is just Helping Hand Oblivion Wing, but even if they were to read into this and Heat Crash, okay, they're just going to forfeit. But that's it. We featured all the Eeveelutions in one episode here, so can you win with a 4 Eeveelution team? The answer is yes. I honestly got incredibly lucky with this string of games in terms of, like, matchups, because, like, when I started learning this team, I was literally, like, 1-5 in my first 6 games, but we just ran into some pretty good matchups back-to-back consecutively, so... I am doubtful I'll have as much good matchup RNG in the next episode with this one, but I'm just so glad to showcase how all the Eeveelutions can actually be used. I mean, like, I was going to bring Leafeon, like, I really wanted to in this final matchup regardless of what we went up against, and we just so happened to actually go up against kind of the perfect team for it. But, you know, this goes to show you can win with really unique and creative picks. You just need to find the right matchups for them, bring them out in the right times, and basically, like, yeah, play the early game and make sure that you have to play a lot better, essentially, right, than you maybe normally would with a regular team, because your margin for error is just a lot slimmer, but if you execute it properly, it actually can lead to a win. So, yeah. That last game, though, that last team was, like, the perfect team to bring Leafeon against, right? Like, they had Amoonguss, they had Groudon, they had Xerneas, they had Incineroar, we had super effective attacks in the 3 of those, so I'm just happy to feature an Eeveelution team, but, yeah, like, I was definitely not expecting 3 wins in a row after losing so much when I was trying to learn with this team, so, yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to another episode with this one. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll catch you all soon. All right, peace.